Greetings! Welcome to another Halfling versus anyone who'll take me on game featuring Harvey's Birdmen. And today we are up against Khemri, who are a race of undead skeletons for the most part, who tend to err on the side of punching people's faces in because they're not particularly good at anything else. Pretty much all of the team has agility 2, apart from the Tomb Guardians who have agility 1, which basically means you don't ever want to do anything remotely agile with them, which means they struggle to pick up the ball, struggle to pass it, struggle to catch it, can't really dodge too well, yeah, anything that involves agility. So, for the most part, they are cagey punchers of men, apart from their Tomb Guardians, who are cagey punchers of trolls and minotaurs, because they have strength 5, so they can go toe to toe with most of the strongest units in the game, apart from treemen, who have strength 6 of course. But that doesn't mean that they can't get the modifiers easily. All they need is an extra 2 add 1 modifiers on treemen, and they can 2 dice block them. And if they can 2 dice block them and knock them down, then you're in the position whereby you've got to go through the whole 50-50 chance of actually getting the treemen to stand again, which is a huge pain in the arse. So yeah, we'll have to be looking out for them. Whilst they are good at punching though, as said, they have crap agility, their movement's pretty poor, most of their guys have movement 4 and 5, everything apart from their blitzers and their throw-wars which my opponent doesn't seem to have any of, which have movement 6, and also all their general skeletons only have armor 7, which isn't great, which means they're easily knocked off the pitch, but they're only slightly more expensive than my halflings, so they're pretty damn good at what they do. Let's have a look at the skills. Let me see what skills I've got on my players. It appears I have absolutely no skills on these actual halflings. Oh, we got sidestep on 10, we got sidestep on 14, and we have break tackle on both the treemen. That's it. Right, okay, break tackle on both the treemen and sidestep on 14 and 10. Now let's quickly look at what skills he's got. I don't think he had any skills on his guys, but I'll just double check because I have no memory capacity whatsoever. No skills at all in his game on his guys. So yeah, basically a new Khemri team. But a new Khemri team, new dwarf team, new elf team, doesn't really matter what they are. They're always a threat to halflings. So we're still going to do our best to beat the absolute hell out of them before they've got a chance to beat us, and that's generally going to happen with our treemen. And maybe, hopefully, some well-placed fouls. I've also got 3 subs, as you can see. I'm assuming they don't... Oh, got a guy with diving tackle there. Oh, it looks like I've got 6 and 7. 6 and 7 also have diving tackle. I guess I didn't have them on the pitch because, for the most part, my opponent it's extremely unlikely they'll be dodging, so I probably just didn't want those slightly more expensive, useful halflings to be on the receiving end of a punch. So yeah, I may as well keep them off the pitch since they have no real place on the pitch in this game. Now, as you can see, we just kicked off. I'll put on the grid so you can see movement allowances and whatnot. And so consequently, as you can tell, my opponent is receiving. The Cheering Fans kickoff event has just taken place, and it's given me an extra reroll, so I've got 5 rerolls at the moment. And to start things off, he rushes forward with a skeleton and breaks the leg of one of my halflings, which is always a nice start, you know. Not too bad though. It's pretty expected. It's pretty expected with halflings. The thing I'm most worried about in this game is getting my treemen smashed to the floor. That's something I really don't want to happen. But it's most definitely something my opponent can make happen if he gets his Tomb Guardians in the right place and gets them modifiers. For example, if he put number 7 in front of my number 1 here, and then ran number 8 over to my number 13 to take away his modifier, then he could run in with the Tomb Guardian and blitz number 1 with the 2 dice block. And yeah, if number 1 falls over, 50-50 chance he'll get back up. And then after that, he'd still have to make his take root roll, and on top of that, he could actually only move anywhere if he made GFIs after that. So even the turn they tend to get up in is a turn in which you can't really use them for the most part. So I'll probably be looking to use my Halflings fairly defensively around my treeman to potentially take away modifiers he might be trying to get on them. Now it's onto my first turn, and first thing I'm going to do is try and smash this number 10 skeleton in the face, but it's not going to work. Get 3 push results, so push it is. Not something I want to re-roll. Far more important things to be done than re-rolling push results right now. So we knock him up the pitch, but I don't follow on. I guess I'm just trying to keep my treeman free. As if I do walk into his tackle zone, it's quite easy for him to add another guy and then Tomb Guardian blitz my number 1. And now I'm using number 2 to try and smash his number 7 to the floor, which we will succeed at. But there's no need to follow on. No need to follow on just yet. I want to try and keep my distance. Look for a nice opportune moment to go and smash that Tomb Guardian carrying the ball. And if for any of you wondering why the Tomb Guardian's carrying the ball, it's because I actually kicked it off the pitch. And consequently he could put the ball in the hands of anyone he wanted. So he decided to stick it in the powerful grip of the Tomb Guardian, who will not be an easy target for us. Our treeman can still smash him to the floor, but it's about finding a way in. And given our treemen have half the movement of his Tomb Guardians, it may not be too easy to get to him, even though they themselves are pretty slow bastards. I'll go and look at the rest of my Halflings. I've still got a load of Halflings at the back of the field, which is good. It means I can see where my opponent's heading and start laying up tackle zones. But against Khemri, you can afford to set up a little bit more aggressively due to them being so slow. It's really versus the faster teams like Skaven and Elf that you need to think about setting up right at the back of the pitch, since they can very easily just jump almost to the end of your half within one turn. So now I'm surrounding his blitzer with Halflings and just really creating a kind of wall in the front to slow his ball carrying cage down a little bit. Now he can easily hurt one of my Halflings with his blitzer, but if that blitzer stays where he is, then I'm going to get a 2 dice block on him the next turn. And as you can see, another skeleton smashes the face of one of my Halflings. So turn 2, 2 Halflings off the pitch, never to return. Thank God for subs. But yeah, again, it's fine. It's fine. It probably won't be too long before I can smash one of these skeletons down with a treeman and get them off the pitch for the rest of the game as well. And I don't believe he has any subs, so every skeleton off the pitch will be 1 reduced in his number. That will really dent his team and eventually give us the chance to get that numbers advantage we need. As all we really need to do with our Halflings is stand them in the tackle zones of our opponent to completely lock up his teammates. Unless he wants to start making risky 50-50 dodge rolls. He stands his number 8 in front of my number 10. Brings his number 2 down the right flank, with the clear idea of sending the cage down that way. Yeah, my treeman still has several spaces around him which he can quite easily break tackle out of. Both of them do, in fact. So I can still go and blitz his number 3 Tomb Guardian if I desire to, which I probably will want to, as the key players to try and get rid of here are his Tomb Guardians. His skeletons aren't really that big of a threat. They're a threat to my Halflings, but everything is anyway, so that's hardly anything new. And his Tomb Guardians can actually get 3 dice blocks upon my Halflings that are standing next to them. The good thing for us about Tomb Guardians is that whilst they have armor 9, which is a bit hard to break, they actually have decay, and decay is a what would you call it? It's not a skill, it's a detrimental attribute, I guess, which basically means that if you perform an injury roll upon them, they'll automatically take 2 of them. So, well, in all honesty, I guess that doesn't help me, as if we get an injury roll on them, they're off the pitch anyway. So getting 2 injuries on them does nothing but really mess up my opponent's team. It doesn't really help me. All I'm looking to do is get rid of them. I don't really care to absolutely wreck their attributes, since I'm not going to be playing them again. Or it's very unlikely you will, in Old World at least. So yeah, it's not really, I guess decay doesn't really help me. It just really ruins my opponent's chances of keeping his Tomb Guardians in the future. Which is certainly part of the problem of using Khemri, when your best players on the team have such a nasty effect on them. But that's what you get for having 4 strength guys that don't have any really stupid or boneheaded attributes to have to try and contend with. And as you can see here, I'm now performing the 2 dice blocks on this blitzer. We eventually get a defender down, and we stun him, so he will be out for the count for a while, which is very useful for us. It can allow me to now free up number 14 and 3 to go and do something a little bit more useful than just trying to punch an out-of-the-way blitzer. Alternatively, we could foul him. Again, he's not really doing anything useful for his team at the moment, being where he is, but his blitz is a good player, and this might be one of the few opportunities we'll actually get to take that guy out good and proper. It depends how important I think it is that I get 2 more Halflings over to that right side to try and stop the ball carrier. Versus faster teams, I'll often not necessarily let them score, but if it looks like they're in a too easy a position to score for me to get the ball, I'll kind of just encourage them to score quickly so that I can counter score. But Khemri are so slow, I don't necessarily have to think about trying to push them to score. Plus, they don't really have to worry about being pushed into scoring, since they're such hard bastards with having 4 strength guys that I can't really intimidate them with my Halflings, you know. If my Halflings run up to them, they'll just punch them to the face. I can't threaten them with the number of Halflings I have, especially since I've already got 2 Halflings off the pitch. I do not have the numbers advantage at the moment anyway. So yeah, there's no real intimidation I can put on with my Halflings here. If there's any intimidation to be done, it's going to be with my Treeman. But he can quite quickly outrun my Treeman. So right here, rather than trying to push my opponent into scoring early, I really just want to plain stop him. I just want to stop his guys from being able to get anywhere, get the ball off of him and score as often as I can do. Put up a full defence, basically. The first thing I do in here is run my number 2 in to go and blitz his Tomb Guardian, but we just get a push result. I then smack one of his skeletons with my number 1 Treeman, but the thick skull of the skeleton allows him to take a KO result and turn it into a stun. And thick skull is a skill that I used to think was, when I first read it, I thought, how can this possibly be useful? It just seems so specific that surely it's completely useless, essentially, or just a nice little addition to players rather than anything of any actual purpose or use. But the amount of times I've seen thick skull proc, the amount of times it's actually done its job is quite amazing. I mean, yeah, and turning that KO, which would send him off the pitch, possibly to never return if my opponent doesn't roll well, into a stun, which just means he'll be down for 1 extra turn, is a massive gain, really. So yeah, I still wouldn't say Thick Skull was an amazing skill, but it's a hell of a lot more useful than I ever realised. Now, as you can see, we've got a load of those Khemri players standing very close to both my Treemen. This is a damn good opportunity to go in there and just start smashing people and get up close to that ball carrier. Only problem is 5 of my Halflings are on the left flank, which are quite useless at the moment. I'd really rather have them where 10 and 15 are, so they can at least lay down some tackle zones and prevent the advance of this skeleton horde here. My opponent runs in to blitz one of my Halflings that are holding up the team, but gets 2 both down results and knocks himself out along with the Halfling, which is a fine trade by me. I will take that all day long. And since it's onto my turn again, my treeman can start doing some damage now and getting up very close to his ball carrier. Possibly even beat down his ball carrier. And his cage is not particularly well formed, especially with 2 being in the position he's in. He can very easily hit number 1. I've just got to be careful about the modifiers at the moment. So the first thing we do is knock back number 9. Why I did this, I'm not sure, because there isn't a whole lot of point to it. But hey, it's fun to punch skeletons. I think it's time to move number 15 in and take away some of those modifiers. It will leave number 15 in a vulnerable position in the following turn, but that's what halflings are for. Being momentarily useful and then facing imminent death. So first thing I do against this number 11 skeleton is punch him to the face with my number 1 treeman in an effort to probably push away some Tomb Guardian. I could push his ball carrier out, but that wouldn't really achieve anything. And pushing number 3 out would just put him in a slightly more irritating position. So I elect to push back number 4 and just keep a Tomb Guardian that bit further away from where my guys are so that he can't put himself into any particularly useful position. Doesn't achieve a whole lot, but then there were no real good choices to be made there. So I run number 15 up to take away the modifiers that would otherwise be applied against my number 2 treeman's blitz, which allows me then to make a nice 2 dice blitz against that ball carrier. And I've still got my rerolls, so if we don't get a knockdown we can re-roll it. And as you see, I roll a defender stumbles and attacker down. So stumbling that ball carrier will be, but where the ball will end up is the problem. And it falls along the lines of both his number 3 Tomb Guardian and his number 8 skeleton, and then back to his number 3 Tomb Guardian, none of whom can catch it, rolls off my treeman, and right in between the 2 of them, which is probably the most perfect place it could have possibly gone. There is nowhere on the pitch more protected from his advances than in between my 2 treeman's strength 6 blows right now. I go and mark number 6, his blitzer, because he will be getting up soon and I don't want him free to move wherever he wants to be able to move. And go and pick up the ball with number 12. And through all this I've still got my reroll, so that's pretty handy. Not that I really know where to use it right now. I could hand off the ball to number 9 and run, but he's not so fast that he'd be able to get away. His skeleton number 9 would still quite easily be able to catch up with him. So rather than risk that, I just put him into a kind of ramshackle, half constructed cage and just try and protect him for the time being. Probably with a view to throwing him down the pitch in the next turn. And it's now onto my opponent's turn 4. First thing he does, gets his skeleton to go and smash number 15 to the face, as was bound to happen, but only a stun result, so that's cool. Puts one more, if he can put one more modifier on number 2, he can then punch him to the face with number 3. And if he blitzes my number 3 with, say, his number 9, he can then also punch down number 1. So he does run in here with his number 1 and smashes my number 2 treeman to the face, but his armor holds up, so thank God for that. I mean, he's got armor 10, which is amazing, but still, the last thing I want in any game is for one of my treemen to get hurt. Halflings, fuck 'em, but treemen I need. Especially ones with break tackle. He then goes and moves his number 3 over to my number 12, which is going to force my number 12 to get out of the way, or at least force me to have to break tackle out with number 1 in order to hit number 3 away. So all these dice rolls my opponent's forcing on me are going to give me at least some chance of failure and getting a turnover towards him, which will then allow him to get the ball back. So he's making some good choices here, given the position he's in. He then goes and runs number 9 to the back of the field, also a good decision, because my halflings can very quickly disappear from the middle of the pitch and find themselves running up the top of it with a well-placed throw teammate. So he needs to be ready to intercept the ball carrier should the ball carrier suddenly fly away from the rest of the action. And that's what my opponent continues to do with the rest of his team. Just move a bunch of guys up to the top, but then move number 4 in. I'm assuming to also try and hit my treeman, but that's not going to work. He needs to get a guy to the right of number 1 before he can get a 2-dice blitz on him. In fact, that won't work either, because number 3 is taking away number 7 and number 4 as tackle zones. I think he could probably... No. Couldn't even do a 1-dicer at the moment. So, with that, it's my turn. I think I move my number 5 in to mark this Tomb Guardian so that I may be able to... Well, should I fail this blitz, which I just performed with number 2, I'd at least be in his tackle zone so he couldn't just run off freely. But yeah, I chose to blitz with number 2 here. It didn't need to work, basically, which is why I risked it, because there was a good chance my treeman wouldn't have stood up, and even if he had stood up, he might have taken root. But he did neither of those things, luckily for me, but I didn't actually need him to perform what he did. It just made the break tackle that little bit easier. And then, as you can see, I break tackle out, pick up the halfling, throw him down the pitch so that I don't have -3 modifier against me with that throw, and it all works out. We are, however, getting quite low on number already when it comes to halflings. But we still have 11 players at the moment. That's including all 3 of our subs. From here on out, each halfling that goes down is 1 less player I'll have for the rest of the match. Having said that, one of them is knocked out and he can come back. He can come back, so it's not too bad. And time for the kickoff. Ah, this damn replay. Is that symmetrical? I think that's symmetrical. Yeah, that's fine. There we go. And we kick it into the top left, and a rock is thrown straight at his blitzer's face. No one respects this blitzer anymore. After he got the shit kicked out of him by a bunch of halflings, even the audience are after his blood now. Everyone thinks they can take him, so this is what happens when you show weakness, man. Having said that, it is my opponent's turn. And so he can at least stand himself up next turn. He won't have to spend an extra whole turn just lying there stunned out of his face. He runs in with number 8, pushes back number 4. He's got some balls, this skeleton, because it is not a nice position to be in between 2 treemen. But his metaphorical balls are extremely large, so he doesn't give a shit. Runs his number 9 to my left. Runs his number 11 to my right. Looks like he's going to attempt to circle me at the moment. Yeah, from what I remember, I think that's what he does. Tries to lock down my treeman with his Tomb Guardians. And right now we are pretty locked down. I mean, we can still dodge out. I mean, we're only in... it depends where we dodge out. If we dodge... For example, if number 2 dodges to the bottom left, he's only going to be in 1 tackle zone. So his break tackle with strength 6 will still work on a 2+. So if he really wants to lock down my treeman here, he'll need to add a few more tackle zones, at least to begin to make it a bit risky. Having said that, I've got rerolls, so if I want to attempt a 3+ break tackle with a reroll, it's still got a pretty solid chance of working. But that's exactly what he does. He sends number 3 in on my far right flank, Also stands them next to some Halflings, which is a good idea because that adds even more of a threat to my team as a whole. Then attempts to pick up the ball with his number 5. Fails it, doesn't bother re-rolling, and so the ball scatters to the top left of him. Now, as you can see, my whole front line is pretty locked down by this Khemri team at the moment, which is not a nice position to be in. But with the throw teammate skill, you can always break at least one Halfling out of such a shit situation, at least if it works. Having said that, he's tried to take precautions against that by putting so many men in the tackle zones of my treemen. So if we're going to get a successful throw teammate, we're going to have to do some punching. And possibly a little bit of dodging. Now there's no chance I'm going to be able to punch down a Tomb Guardian with my Halfling. So that is out of the question. The question is, who do I punch? So firstly I elect to punch his skeleton, his topmost skeleton, with my number 2 treeman. Push him out the way. I then perform a 2 dice block against his number 8 skeleton with a Halfling. And get a push result. And then, whilst in the tackle zones of 2 players, I attempt to throw my Halfling down the pitch. So that gives us a -2, but thanks to Strong Arm we get a +1. So basically I think it was a 3+. 3+ in accurate throw, a 1 and a 2 would have been fumbles. My Halfling successfully lands in a pretty damn fine spot. And I begin to move up the rest of my Halflings just in case we fail to actually achieve anything with our number 4 Halfling, who is going to attempt some opportunistic shit upon that ball. So it goes from him caging up my guys to me attempting to cage down his, at least lock them up from being able to move out from the flanks. Any movement he is going to do is going to have to be, well, he's only going to be able to do with his number 4 right now, at least until he starts punching some Halflings and possibly some treemen out of the way. And punching treemen out of the way is not particularly easy. And he sure as hell isn't going to try and dodge. As you can see, I run in with my number 4 Halfling there, pick up the ball, dodge out of his tackle zone, and score! So that's 2 goals extremely quickly. So we've got a pretty damn fine advantage here. No one got hurt, if I recall. So we've still got a full complement of players on the pitch. One of our Halflings still knocked out, but we don't need him yet anyway, so it's not too bad. And things are going our way. What we really want to do here now is just defend as hard as possible and try to prevent any of our guys getting knocked off the pitch. The more numbers we have, the better we'll be able to hold them off in the future. We kick the ball off and it lands right in the arms of number 5. Thanks to the kickoff table high kick event, which allows him to put any player he wants under the ball. He runs in to blitz number 15 with his number 8, only manages to push him. Tries to smack my number 4 with his number 9. Gets a defender down result, and yep. Oh, serious concussion, so he loses a point of armour. So that guy is fired, most likely. Seems to be shuffling the majority of his players along my right flank here. I get that makes sense, given that that's where his ball carrier is. Gets a 2 dice block upon my treeman. Knocks him to the floor. Yeah, I did play around with the idea of possibly keeping my treeman off the line of scrimmage. But that's just asking for trouble, at least concerning my halflings. I'm likely to get a lot of very badly hurt halflings that way, since he can just put his Tomb Guardians on the front and 3 dice block all of them. And quite frankly, this is what treemen are for, really. They're there to resist the opposition, to take a punch here and there, possibly. I mean, you don't really want them taking a punch, but if they have to, then so be it. The chance that they'll actually get hurt is very unlikely. And at least we have break tackle. Break tackle will often allow me to find ways to get out of these shit situations with my treeman. Okay, judging by the way his guys are positioned now, it looks like he's got quite a good screen actually on the left side, so he'll probably moving his guys along that way, drawing his number 5 back around in between number 6 and number 3 by the looks of it, yeah. And there ain't no way I'll be getting to him anytime soon. I mean, I guess I could attempt to throw a halfling and maybe blitz that number 5 in the back, but even then that's still going to be a 2 dice. I mean, I guess I could move number 3 out of the tackle zone to number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make 2 GFIs and get over to him that way, and then we could do a 1 dice blitz. But it's a bit too over-eager and a bit too risky, I think. So I'll just stand here and smash people like that with number 2 or number 8 who gets the stun result. However, as you can see by them branches under his bloody feet, he's also taken root. So he will not be moving again, at least not in this drive. Number 1 elevates himself right back up and stares number 7 deep in the eyes, blaming him for the whole knockdown event. "14 manoeuvres around to number 7. My number 7 runs in there as well. I'm guessing I'm going to make a blitz on him, yeah. We promptly roll attacker down and both down, which is terrible. We have rerolls though, but nope, I choose the both down result. Actually, maybe I didn't have rerolls. But either way, we get the both down result, and my halfling gets knocked out. But at least he drops number 7, so number 7 can't attempt to knock out somebody else as well. The bad thing is I think that was a sidestep guy. And now my opponent's number 4 Tomb Guardian goes in for the attack on number 3, but just gets a defender stumbles, so pushes him back. Number 9 is the next victim, but only gets pushed as well. Pretty damn lucky considering he's able to do all these 3 dice blocks on him. Number 7 stands up. And it's blitz time! Going straight for my number 6, who's another... Oh no, who's a diving tackler, of course. I had to bring the diving tacklers on. and goes and stands next to him. So at least if that Blitzra even thinks of dodging, he's going to get smashed down to the floor by our number 6. Okay, so he runs down. He's not incredibly safe, but he's relatively safe. Safe-ish. It would certainly help him if he could get somebody else to come in and support him, though. Because he's in by no means any semblance of a cage at the moment. And with enough dodge rolls, enough successful dodge rolls, we can find a way to get to him. His Tomb Guardians yet again go for my Treeman, but only get a 1 dice block on him this time, and roll a pushed. So the question is, do I want to turn Stand Firm off? And I did, allowing me to get the hell away from one of those Tomb Guardians. And also pushing my Treeman into the tackle zone of my own number 15 Halfling, which then gives me the option of throwing him, if I don't want to throw him with number 9. So, you know, having extra options is always a good thing. And now number 9 gets targeted by his number 11. Defender stumbles, however, is still the order of the day, and so it's just another push result. And on to my turn 7. So now I've got 2 turns to attempt to stop his number 5 from scoring. His number 5 is in perfect reach to get to the end zone. Exactly 6 movement spaces to it, so he doesn't have to risk any GFIs. I've still got my rerolls, so I'm going to attempt to GFI all over the place in an effort to get to him. So we move number 12 over to the left flank, as you can see. That gives us the add 1 modifier we need to at least get a 1 dice block on him. It's not like me to go for the 1 dice blitz on a person carrying the ball though, so I imagine I'm going to attempt to move more people. And then I attempt to dodge out with my number 6 from his Blitzra's tackle zone, but unfortunately falls over. But fortunately doesn't hurt himself in the process, so it's not too bad. However, he is in prime location to score now. A simple blitz with his Blitzra, knock number 12 out the way with the defender down, and then he can run in with his number 5. However, he could still mess things up here if he chooses to do some unnecessary blocks. Having said that, yeah, he's got at least 3 dice attacks he could make, which have a pretty reliable chance of working. But he has no reroll, so if he does mess them up, I've got another opportunity. Just not a very good one, given the amount of halflings. Promptly goes about knocking out 2 of my halflings with his Tomb Guardians. Again, why you don't really want your halfling standing near strength 5 guys. But, again, could be worse, could be badly hurt. And then runs in with his Blitzra and gets himself a goal, so well done. His skeleton remains knocked out, has no interest in coming back. What about my halflings though? I get 2 halflings back, so 50% of them, that's good. One of them's a sidestep guy, I believe, unless it's the diving tackler. And now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys on the pitch. So yeah, 9's still a solid number. However, we still have a second half to go. So yeah, could be better, but that's what's going to happen if you're standing next to Tomb Guardians. Time for my opponent to kick off. Remember though, it is not yet the second half, it's just the very last turn. So the ball lands in a perfect place here. We smash number 11 to the face, who gets drop rolled and stunned. Then target number 4 with our number 1. So by the looks of it, I won't be looking to score this turn, given that I have no treeman to actually do any throw teammate shenanigans. But I should be picking up the ball and standing next to a treeman. Now run number 14 back. Make sure you're standing next to the bastards, otherwise, yep, good. And I run right in between the two of them, which is perfectly fine because his number 11 can't stand back up given that he's stunned. So he's actually part of our cage right now. Plus, by standing next to both treemen, should one of them get locked down in a particularly nasty way, I've at least got an option to throw with the other guy. However, we're not totally secure on our left flank. I think his blitzer, number 6, might still be able to reach us. 2, 4, 5... Yeah, he could GFI twice and punch my number 14 that way. So it would be wise to move my number 15 or number 7 or number 12 and just lock that little bit up. We do not want any vulnerabilities in our cage. And yeah, good. So I go and send number... No, I'm running him all the way around to try and get another stun. Probably not to try and get another stun. Probably to try and actually ruin that skeleton from ever returning to the field. However, in doing that, yeah, I've left the left side of my cage very open to that number 6. I clearly must have not seen this at the time. Too busy obsessing over how badly I can ruin skeletons by the looks of it. And there's my makeshift shitty cage. Now it's on to my opponent's final turn. And yes, he does have an opportunity to knock the ball out of my hands with his number 6 here. Having said that, he'll still have to mark number 2 in order to prevent himself from getting a 2-dice blitz. Which will mean he'll probably have to move his number 7 around. And in order to do that, he's going to have to attempt GFI. And he has no rerolls. So it's not horrendously risky. But, you know, it'll fail 1 in 6 times. It's that, or perform a 1-dice blitz. He stands his Tomb Guardian back up, and puts him in the tackle zone with my number 1 treatment as well. And this is part of the beauty of break tackle. Even if he were to stand a whole load of his teammates. Oh, first of all, he's going to go in and blitz my 14, and he rolls an attacker down. So that was a perfect result. Yeah. I was going to say, even if he does stand a load of his players next to my treeman, part of the beauty of break tackle is that you can very easily just break out of those horrible tackle zones and still go on to then throw in teammate. So I run my number 14 around, I hand off the ball to number 12, who's a little bit further up the pitch. I move my number 2 forwards to get a little bit of extra distance on the throw, then throw number 12, who fortunately, well, unfortunately he lands in a tackle zone, which gives him a -1 to his landing roll, but fortunately we roll 5, which means he lands perfectly, and then we go on to score again. What I didn't mention, mind you, was that he had to make a dodge and a GFI, so yeah. We had a 5+ landing roll there, followed by a 3+ with a reroll and then a 2+. But the 5+, I mean, that's pretty damn lucky that we actually did that. So we are 3 goals up now. Not gonna lie, got pretty damn lucky with that last goal though. And it's on to the second half. And this time, Cyanide's default view is perfect, so I don't have to worry about constantly spinning the bloody camera around. As you can see by this setup, I guess I'm basically going for the same thing I did last time, with the idea of throwing the teammate down the field and quickly scoring. I don't have to, but it is always nice to have the option to, especially when you are beginning to become outnumbered. Let's see how many people my opponent actually has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, we have 11. So we are actually outnumbering him at the moment. How long it will last, I have no idea because I can't remember. But it doesn't matter. We've got a bigger number for the second half to begin things. And oh, this skeleton is still knocked out. That's why I haven't actually badly hurt anyone. It's because his skeleton refuses to wake up. He's one of these undead guys that just wishes he stayed dead. He really can't be bothered for all this getting up and moving around, following some necromancer's whims and all this shit. As you can see here, I'm gonna hit number 11 with my number 3. Get a defender down. Smash him to the floor. And then go for the number 4 Tomb Guardian with number 2. And smash him to the floor as well. Not smash because he wasn't badly hurt, but you know, lightly smash him to the floor. Oh, number 1 has taken root, which is a real pain in the ass. But to make up for it, he does the proper smash. Perhaps that's why he took root. He took root to get that extra bit of leverage that he needed to perform a really, really well-aimed punch straight in the face of that number 2 Tomb Guardian. And that Tomb Guardian is off the pitch for the rest of the game. I move my number 9 over into slightly more protective hands of this cage. I guess they're not more protected. I mean, if you really want your halfling protected, stand next to the treeman. But I don't think this time he can actually reach my halfling with his number 6 blitzer. Did I learn anything? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Apparently not, because he can actually still reach my number 9 ball carrier. So yes, he can still blitz him with his number 6. So it seems like I didn't learn anything. And I'm still going for the stun. Well, for the stuns, I'm still going for the fouls. Still going for the fouls and still getting stun results on the skeletons. I don't know, it's why the hell didn't I not plug up the left side of that cage? Am I just goading him into trying to hit me? I don't think I was. I'm pretty sure I wasn't. I think I'm just that light-headed. My sidestepper halfling number 14 gets hit by his number 3. And then he follows in with his number 8 to lock down the right side of my cage. I'm not entirely sure why he did that blitz, because again, he could have blitzed my number 9 ball carrier with his number 6. If he did just put his number 7 in that diagonal right space next to number 12, 7 and 3 on my side, he could have taken away all their modifiers. So I'm not sure why he didn't. I think I'm probably getting a bit cocky at this point, which is probably why I just didn't give a shit about him trying to go and blitz my number 9. Especially after knocking out one of his Tomb Guardians. Even if he does knock down my number 9 though, the ball is still quite firmly in the surrounding cage of my halfling, so it shouldn't be a problem picking it right back up. And if number 6 manages to knock down number 9 and pick up the ball, then I should be able to break tackle with my number 2 treeman and smash him back down to the floor. He does, however, go in and stand number 6 next to my ball carrier. And then runs in to plug up that hole with his number 5 blitzra. And after watching the halfling's foul play, he decides to go and pull off some of his own and stamps right on the head of Mr. Chig Magnet Kenny, who gets a fractured skull and loses a point of armour. So that's a sidestepper off the team. But it's not a big deal given that sidestep is a very quickly gained skill by any halfling, so sod him, he doesn't matter. Onto my turn, and looks like I'm going to try and smash this Blitzra to the face with my number 2 treeman. That'll free up my halflings on that left side to then go and beat the living hell out of his Blitzra. But unfortunately we just get a push result and knock him back a little bit. Number 12 goes and smashes his Blitzra to the face and stuns him as well. I can't remember if this is the first Blitzra that got stunned in the beginning, but if it is, well, at least he knows why people are throwing rocks at him now. He's far too light-headed for a skeleton. Constantly getting stunned by people half his size, and it looks like I'm about to stamp on his skull one more time. Yep, but just get another stunned result. Vicious little bastard halflings these are. I still have yet to move my ball carrier. Probably be a wise idea to stand him next to the treeman. Either one. But I don't want to stand him when number 3's standing, because then he'll be able to come in with his number 4 Tomb Guardian and blitz him. But I choose not to, and it's on to my opponent's turn 11. So that was just a fighting round for us, just securing our position that little bit more, and making sure that that number 6 Blitzra isn't a threat to us, at least right now. And it's blitzing time. My opponent gets his number 8 skeleton to push in to my number 6 halfling, and re-rolls his result as he's not happy with it, but consequently gets a 2 both down results, and does drop my number 6 halfling, but also drops himself and gives us a turnover. So whilst that halfling is stunned, and I'm fairly rapidly losing players, it's probably about time to get this cage moving up the field. Whether or not I do that is anyone's guess, but I'm hoping I do. Question is whether I'm going to try and stamp on number 6's face before I go running off. And in doing so, I may potentially risk another turnover if my halfling gets caught and ejected off the pitch. First thing I do is go and attack his number 5 with my number 2 treeman, where you get a pretty dodgy result with attacker down and both down. So re-roll it and get it into a defender stumbles, which enables us to knock that skeleton to the floor. Was that a skeleton? I think that actually might have been a Blitzra. Yep, it was a Blitzra. Blitzra that knows how to not get stunned every 2 seconds by the looks of it. And it looks like it's time to move my ball carrier up the damn pitch. Yeah, most of his team is actually on my right side at the moment. So, in fact, almost all of them are, apart from his number 1 Tomb Guardian, who's in the tackle zone of my treeman. So we've got him pretty heavily locked up. And whilst it's not impossible for him to find a way to get to the ball carrier, it's going to be extremely hard for him to find a way there. I probably want to leave a guy marking number 6, just so that he can't get back up and try and blitz his way into the back of the cage. And so long as I do that, the goal should be almost assured. I go and stand my number 7 in next to his Tomb Guardian. I don't know why I did that, to be honest. I mean, it helps me prevent him from being able to punch my treeman, but that's the only thing I can think of. Maybe that was it. Maybe I was paranoid my treeman was going to be facing a blitz. And I really don't want to lose my treeman. I guess since his he just showed a propensity to be willing to foul a halfling who's not really worth fouling for the most part because they're just halflings, he's probably willing to knock down and then attempt to gang foul my treeman as well. So I probably left 7 there as a little bit of protection, at least someone to try and take away the focus from my treeman. So if he wants to punch number 7, that's fine, because I don't mind having average skilled halflings get punched, even if they get hurt. I would really not want to get my treeman badly injured though. We've got a pretty damn tight cage around number 9 now, so it's going to be next to impossible for him to find a way to blitz our ball carrier. The goal is almost assured, but he does seem to be focusing on my treeman right now, and so I will not be surprised if one of them gets dropped and gang fouled. It does look like that's what's going to happen. And that certainly encourages me to score, because I do not want him repeatedly getting stamped on the face every single turn. Luckily, he doesn't seem to have anyone that can actually foul my number 1 treeman right now, as he moved a few too many people in there, as his number 11 can't actually... Well, his number 11 would have to dodge out of that treeman's tackle zone in order to foul. Depends if he wants to risk that. He does have rerolls, but it's a pretty pointless thing to try and reroll. But, yeah, if you really want to foul that treeman, that's the way to go about it right now. And yep, he is going to dodge with his number 11 and succeeds in it, and then stuns the treeman. Luckily, treemen are another one of those guys that have thick skulls, so they have that little bit more chance of getting stunned than getting knocked out. But I don't want to take the risk of him repeatedly getting fouled, so it's probably a good idea to try and score as soon as possible here. At least do that, or run my number 2 treeman in and blitz open that cage around number 1, so I can at least give him a little bit of protection and reduce the amount of people that can actually add their modifiers into the foul. I run up my number 9 here and hand off to my number 5, as I really do feel the urge to try and score as fast as possible. The handoff succeeds. And I'm pretty damn sure it's time for me to run number 5 up to the top. But not quite yet, I say. It seems I want to punch his Tomb Guardian into the face of my treeman. See if I can get another casualty. But nope, didn't work. And then it's time to score. Run down the pitch with number 5, and we get our 4th goal. Or touchdown. Or scoring lead signifier. Or whatever you want to call it. Fucking skeleton is still knocked out. I mean, maybe the icon's wrong. Maybe he's actually dead, and Cyanide just hasn't noticed. I don't know. And time to kick off yet again, with what looks to be a pretty terrible kick. Is it going to fly right out into the audience? It certainly looks like it. Oh, but we get the blitz result, which I didn't notice at all. And I attempt to go and run round to where the ball's going and trip up and knock myself out like an idiot. Shouldn't do that. What I should have done was move my whole team round to the left before attempting to do that. The moves require no dice roll, so there's no risk of doing anything stupid with them. Should have moved my whole team into position first, and then attempted any stupid shit. But I must have got overexcited, and attempted the stupid shit right away, which promptly failed, as as it deserved to do, really. And I pay the price for it with another knocked out halfling. His team guardian rushes in to push number 9. And looks like he's going to try and contain my halflings in here while he runs his Blitzra down the left flank. And I say that because not only is it obvious, but I also remember it for once. I imagine he'll put his number 3 next to my number 6. Apparently not. Oh no, there you go. Even better. Goes and stands next to number 6 and number 9. So I imagine his... well, actually his number 7 is caught in a tackle zone, so he can't actually manoeuvre him at the moment unless he wants to try a pointless, risky dodge. So now it's time for him to use his number 8 to punch my number 3 in the face. Gets defender down, so it's likely it'll work. And he does knock him down, but it doesn't hurt him. Tries to circle around with number 9. Fails GFI, but re-rolls it. And then there's another one, so he can get as far into my team as he can. Very eager to lock them in place, which is a good idea, but I'm not sure if it's that important to waste rerolls on GFIs just to lock them down. But number 15, I mean, he's not going to be going anywhere, so he is definitely hindering, or definitely nullifying the amount of players I'll be able to maneuver out of tackle zones and down the pitch to try and chase down his number 6 Blitzra. And yeah, his number 6 Blitzra rushes down the left flank, and it looks like he's almost assured of a goal here because my team are in hundreds of tackle zones and very far away. With their movement of 5, they are not going to have an easy time getting to that Blitzra. But that doesn't mean I'm going to give up. So I break tackle out with my treeman and go and smash number 3 to the face. So if I'm going to do this blitz, I clearly have no interest in actually blitzing his Blitzra this turn. So I guess I'm going to just try and get as many guys as I can around him and lock him in. I mean, he won't be able to dodge anywhere again because of agility 2, and he has no rerolls left anymore. But that doesn't mean he won't be able to blitz himself and then try and run down the pitch. So if I'm going to make that happen, I'm going to have to get probably at least 3 halflings around him. So I use my number 1 here to throw another halfling down the pitch, which succeeds, but the halfling himself doesn't land on his feet, lands on his back. However, he can still be picked up. And so pick him up I do and rush him over with a GFI into the tackle zone of his number 6 Blitzra. So now I'm guessing I've still got number 9, number 10, number 12, who are not near but relatively close-ish to his number 6 Blitzra. His number 1 Tomb Guardian is locked down by my treeman, so he's not going anywhere. Every one of these dodges has a 1 in 9 chance of failing, so it's important to think about the order in which you actually move these halflings out and try and minimise the amount of dodges. There you go, I move another halfling out, pulling him along the top of my treeman and running around the left. So now we have 3 tackle zones laid down on that Blitzra. So it's very unlikely he'll be able to go anywhere, especially since the only other guy that's anywhere near helping his Blitzra would be his number 7 skeleton at the top of the pitch. I'm guessing it's time to move number 10 or number 12, yet number 12 dodges out. He's still got 4 movement left. He could potentially GFI twice over though to reach number 6 Blitzra. However, I have no rerolls left. But instead I elect to move him down the pitch. Then next turn I can bring him back around. Oh, took a bit of risk there though. Dodge out with number 10 and fly him all the way over to the Blitzra as well. Could have easily failed that, but at this point I think I don't really mind failing so much. I've got 3 tackle zones around his Blitzra, and if number 10 chooses to fall over and kill himself, then so be it. I then decide to try and dodge out with my number 15. As you can see, I am trying to dodge out one time after another to see if I fail a dodge roll, and if I fail a dodge then I'll just leave him where he is. But he succeeds at both of his dodge rolls initially and then fails twice on his third one, which causes him to stun himself. But again, he's not dead, so he's succeeded really. At least if he's lying on the floor dead, he's not got any chance of getting punched by a Tomb Guardian and getting killed that way. The only way they can kill him now is if they stamp on his face. And so yeah, my opponent is not in a great position here. We've got 4 guys around his Blitzerer, and the only people that can really help him are his number 7 and possibly number 8, who can attempt a 4+ dodge. His number 1, however, with agility 1, is going to only be able to dodge out on a 5+, which is probably too much of a risk to be anywhere near worth it. I guess his number 9 can run in, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Yeah, his number 9 could reach these Halflings if he performs 2 GFIs. But it's only enough GFIs to reach them, not to actually punch any one of them with him. Having said that, he probably doesn't need to punch anyone with him. He can do the blitzing with his actual Blitzerer and then try and run down the pitch. But even if he does blitz with his Blitzerer at this point, even if he blitzes my number 7, he's still going to have to attempt to dodge. And so he promptly runs in with his number 7 and blitzes my number 6, who falls to the left. Yeah, this is where Halflings really shine. You know, they're pretty bad at most things, but they can dodge very well. And that's really the only thing that enabled me to maneuver them out from that middle position and bring them all the way around this Blitzerer here. This is where their dodging really pays off and can enable them to pull off things that other teams would struggle to do. I mean, elves would be able to perform the same thing with their agility of 4 and their high movement, but not many other teams could. They'd have to try and beat a position out for 1 or 2 of their players to run in to go and intercept these ball carriers, which can always go pretty badly. I mean, the dodges can always go pretty badly too, but when you can dodge on a 3+ and have a reroll to go with it, as well as stunty, it helps things out a lot. As you can see there, he attempts to foul my Halfling with the Tomb Guardian, who probably gets sent off. He's so late in the game now that he probably doesn't... Well, he clearly doesn't give a shit about who gets sent off. And so I guess that's why he risked performing the foul with the Tomb Guardian. As you can see there, I go and dodge my number 6 Halfling into the tackle zone of his number 6 Blitzerer, away from the tackle zone of his skeleton, so that I can get an extra add 1 modifier, and that allows me to perform a 2 dice block on him. I'm not sure if this was a particularly good choice of attacker though, as now, I mean, he's still pretty locked down and I can still yet perform blitz, but I can't actually shove his player off the end of the pitch. However, I still have number 12 in there to at least lock up the Blitzer's position that little bit better. And he'll have one hell of a time actually scoring now. So I run number 7 around and number 12 in to do the blitz. We get attacker down and defender stumbled. So we punch that Blitzerer to the floor and the ball falls to the top. Now I could attempt to dodge out with my number 10 and then back into the tackle zone number 7 and try and pick up the ball. But it is a bit dodgy. He still has a blitz run in number 5 on the right flank, and if that ball falls off the pitch and goes somewhere over there, he can probably grab it and get that second goal without tremendous difficulty. Since I have so many Halflings on the left and they've only got movement 5, it would be pretty hard for them to catch him. So the wiser idea right now is probably not to go and GFI and knock out a guy, but sparing that, it'd also be wise not to knock the ball off the pitch and just leave it where it is. My opponent's turn 15, and he elects to rush his Blitzerer into my treeman in an effort to 2 dice block him. I am assuming he's going to try and foul him again. Stands up his Blitzerer, who's in a pretty nasty situation at the moment. I will be trying to surf him, I'm pretty damn sure of that. And the Tomb Guardian blitzes in to smash my number 10 to the face. But that was one of my halflings that had sidestep, so I didn't have to worry about my opponent pushing my number 9 into the ball there and possibly knocking it off the pitch. So that was pretty damn handy. He then focuses his attention on my number 9 with his number 7, knocks him back, and he's got the ball pretty well protected now, and he's also protected his number 6 from getting surfed. Tries to perform a foul on my treeman, but with only 1 assist, very little chance of working. Equivalent of trying to penetrate an armor 9 person's armor. And then it's on to my turn. Turn 16. There's not really much I can do here. I think we've already succeeded in preventing my opponent from scoring here. It's going to be very hard for him to actually find a way out, pick up the ball and get to the end zone. He'd have at least still been able to think about potentially getting a goal if he'd have moved his number 5 Blitzerer a bit more down the pitch to have potentially dodged out, picked up the ball and handed off to him, something like that. But he's denied himself any ability right here to score. Has a chance to perform that all in 1 turn. Well, I don't think his Blitzerer is actually in range, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, even with 2 GFIs, his Blitzerer couldn't actually reach the touchline, so he has little to no chance of actually scoring here. I dodge out my halflings and lay down some more tackle zones just to cement the lockdown and make sure my opponent can't find any special route in to possibly get that final goal. Attack is number 11 with my number 1. Successfully get up to blitz his number 9 skeleton. Get it, defender stumbles. I elect to attack the skeleton as opposed to the Tomb Guardian, because if I attack the Tomb Guardian it's just going to be a 1 dicer. And we get a stun on that skeleton, so that's pretty damn handy. No free blocks for his Tomb Guardian now. But that will not stop him attempting to destroy my number 2, who goes by the name Scrooge McDuck, an honorary member of the Harvey's Birdmen Society, an aspiring attorney at law. Yep, he's completely given up on the whole idea of trying to score now. Well, he couldn't actually do it, so that's probably a good idea on his part. And goes in for the 2 dice block on the treeman. And smashes him down. Now, he still could move his Blitzerer up there and foul him. And aside from that, he can still perform a hit on number 15. But elects not to, tries to pick up the ball, fails at it, as Khemri are often wont to do. And that is the end of the game. 4-1, baby, 4-1. Oh, yeah. First time I've ever got such a big score with the Halflings. And probably the last. Oh, and then talking of Scrooge McDuck, he actually earned the MVP there. And I think this is the point where he went on to get block. So that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. And what did I get? I got fractured skull on one of my guys. The sidestepper, I believe. Badly hurt our fractured leg on another one of Harvey's Birdmen. And a serious concussion on Winging It Wilkins. That's why I don't remember Winging It Wilkins, because yeah, I definitely got rid of him at this point. Okay. Yeah, and that was the last time I ever saw Winging It Wilkins. That makes sense. Okay, well I hope you enjoyed that. I'm off to try and get more 4-1 victories. Maybe even better, maybe 5-1s. And hopefully I'll see you next game, which will be versus a necromantic team.